From the Milford National Bank CEO and President Kristin Carvalho, and from Mendon, Public Safety Director Ernie Horn. Thank you very much for joining us.
Great.
Good morning.
Great to be here.
Thank you very much. It's Halloween. I know this was scheduled a long time ago, but thanks for dressing up and looking like you do. Bunch of weirdos.
I was just going to tell you how nice you looked in your costume.
You're not going to tell me anymore, are you?
I know, because you took my joke.
You didn't bring any candy, any Twix bars or anything.
No.
Well, we ate yours out in the lobby.
Yeah, I know. I know a guy who eats Twix bars. He was like 4 years old. He was eating Twix bars. You know, he's just ballooned up. You know, he has a blue
that
Parker.
Could be a problem.
Yeah. We're here today to talk about identity theft. And both of you initially, this is a big problem, correct, Chief?
Absolutely. More than 8 million people a year are affected by identity theft issues. And thank you for adjusting my microphone.
You're welcome.
And,
I thought that's why I came.
We see it locally all the time. It's just amazing.
Kristin, big problem. Is it a concern from a banking institution way?
Oh, absolutely. Technology has, we had talked about that a little bit before we started, but the advent of technology and advances has really created a big challenge. You see a lot of things in the press, like the Target breach, the Home Depot breach. All of that is, technology based, so it's a big issue for sure. When
you have internet stuff, and of course you have the ATMs and things like that, do you wake up in the morning hoping, geez, I'm not next?
Well, yeah, we have a lot of precautions, and we have fraud prevention software in place. The bank does. We have a full identity theft and fraud prevention program that we adhere to regularly, and we beefed up over the past few years as we continue to move things forward on the technology side.
And I think it works well because at my bank, when I go in at home, if I want to access my account from home, if I make a mistake with my password or whatever, it immediately, first time, shuts me out and sends me an email immediately. Did you access this type of thing? So you do have that protection to help people.
Absolutely, for sure. There's lots of protective actions that the banks have taken to secure your identity. You just want to make sure that you pay attention. The best thing to do is to not create a problem in the first place. So protect your identity. Don't do anything that doesn't make sense. Don't click on links you're not familiar with. Don't respond to emails that you don't know about. Don't give your information to anybody. Just protect everything that you keep everything private.
I think one of the things you guys both told me before you got here was that, and I found it very interesting because I have mine in my wallet now, don't carry your Social Security card with you. Why is that?
Well, your Social Security card is your gold card. It's who you are. If someone has your Social Security number, they really know everything there is to know about you. And if they don't, they can get it. So you really shouldn't carry that on your person, because if you walk in somewhere with that and you're trying to get identification, credit and stuff, that goes a long ways. And unfortunately, even the federal government hasn't caught up. That should either have a fingerprint on it or a picture. I mean, think about it. That Social Security card is nothing more than a piece of paper
that's right.
With no other identifying features.
Kristin, from the bank's standpoint, passwords, of course, a big issue, and they tell us it's a pain, but they tell us to change it quite regularly.
Change it. Don't make it anything that's easy for someone to steal. Don't do, your kids' names, your spouse's name, your Social Security number, anything like that. Make it complicated enough so that people can't, break your password. So just be careful. And don't write it down, so don't put it in your wallet with your Social Security card. Might be a bad idea.
Or your
right? Or on the back of your Social Security card, don't put your password. It's a bad idea.
Or your PIN number.
That's right next to your ATM card. Yeah, that would be a bad idea, too.
I think it's interesting, too. There was a case in Ashland just this week, and there's been this scam going around, and I'm going to talk about it with Milford Police Chief Tom O'Loughlin on Monday, but there was a scam going around where a woman in Ashland got a call the other day from the alleged IRS saying that she owed $6,000. If she didn't pay within a very short period of time, 3 or 4 hours, it was going to be something outrageous, like $62,000. It was going to, and she knew or figured out pretty quickly it was a scam. She blah, 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 don't do this to me, and hung up. Well, the scammer called the cops on her and said, this woman is in her yard with a gun, threatening to kill her husband. So the police swarmed her house, unbeknownst to her what it was all about, until it was explained. So these guys can be ruthless.
Well, they're ruthless and they're almost untouchable because they're often not even in this country.
Good point.
You know, they're using this voice protocol over the internet, and they're not even in the country. We're you know, one of the things that we've dealt with a lot in the last few months has been National Grid.
Yes.
People calling saying they're National Grid, particularly businesses in town.
They're going to shut you off.
They're going to shut you off before the end of the day if you don't immediately go down to, you know, a 7-Eleven, Cumberland Farms, and they want you to pay this green dot where you pay money into this account. You should know instantly that is a scam. Instantly.
A woman in Milford lost $4,000 this week doing that.
Yeah, it's a real problem. And the best advice on that is when someone calls and says they're National Grid, ask for their extension, and then look up the actual number for National Grid and call and ask for that person's extension. Verify that they're who they say they are.
Yeah, I guess one of my concerns is, geez, isn't it obvious this isn't true? But people fall for it, I guess.
Some of them are very, very convincing. Some of them are very convincing. They'll call you with caller ID, and you'll see a local number.
Yeah.
And they're not even in this country.
Yeah. A friend of mine, as I was saying before we went on the air, got a call a couple of weeks ago, and she looked at the caller ID, and it was her own number coming up. So they have ways to do things that we don't know about. I don't know what kind of friends you guys have, but it says here, do not leave sensitive information out when people might visit your home who are not trusted friends. Tell me about that one.
Well,
boy, my Christmas party's off.
You know, that a good example is when you have somebody that comes over, a repairman, going to fix your washer.
And you might say, hey, I got to go out to my shed for a few minutes.
That's right. Or someone that's coming over to, you know, give you an estimate to put down new carpet. These are people that sometimes you don't know, and you just should be careful. And really important is the dumpster diving. We see a lot of that. In fact, let's be honest, the police do it ourselves. If you put your trash out and we think there's illegal activity going, it's not unusual for us to grab your trash. And
constitutional to do that.
The Supreme Court of the United States has ruled that is permissible. So we'll grab your trash for a lawful purpose. You have to understand that these people will grab your trash and look for that credit card payment bill, stuff like that, voided check, and then they get your checking account number, the routing number.
Kristin, Bank, you must have procedures in place where you shred documents from time to time?
Oh, of course, absolutely. Yeah, we shred lots of stuff. That's a good practice, too. When
you
talk about at home, when you talk about, you know, the shredders are very inexpensive. You can buy them at, you know, Office Max or wherever. And shredding your paperwork, that's a good point that Ernie had made. Shred everything, really shred everything. Rip it up. Don't throw anything in your trash that has any information that could create a problem for you on the identity theft side.
Do you think technology has kept up with some of what's going on or not?
Well, it depends. It certainly has kept up with the breach side. But make sure, like I know we have a lot of great information on our website.
Oh, good. Okay.
MilfordNational.com. If you think that, there's a problem, like I said, be proactive. Don't make sure there's not a problem in the first place. That's the best way to avoid a problem. But go on the website. There's lots of instructions in terms of what do you do if you think that you've been a victim of identity theft. You know, how do you address it? How do you fix it? How do you make sure it's not a problem going forward? If in fact it was a problem after the beginning. But protecting your information is the key at the outset.
Yeah, before you have
before there's a problem. You know.
Yeah, and I'll give a quick plug to Kristin. My son ordered a game with my debit card over the internet, which I gave him permission to do, but apparently it was in England, the United Kingdom, and this thing was like $7, and Milford National flagged it.
No kidding.
Saturday morning at 9 a.m., my cell phone is ringing, and it's their fraud protection unit wanting to know if I knew about that and if I approved it.
Well, that tells the story too. I ordered something for my grandson from I hate to admit it, one of those home shopping network things. And
really, Ed?
Yeah,
we're learning all kinds of things coming here today.
It was curtains. You know? No, and I had it sent to his house in Mississippi. Well, the next day I got a call from QVC. Did you order this and order it to be shipped to Mississippi? So there are those things in place.
Oh, absolutely. There's fraud. We increased a whole bunch of stuff over the past 3 or 4 years. Fraud prevention software where the bank establishes the parameters.
So the software catches something like that?
It does. It says it flags. Talk about technology.
Yeah.
Advances in technology. It flags any information, any kind of activity on your account that looks outside of what the norm is, like shipments to other parts of the country. International activity, anything like that.
In your case, buying gifts for someone other than yourself.
That was a definite flag.
Doesn't happen very often. Or even maybe I've heard that people get flagged when you may go to like 3 or 4 different stores inside of 4 or 5 hours and buy like $800 worth of stuff.
Frequency. A lot of the fraudsters, in terms of use of your debit card, they try to do a lot of small transactions before the big one. So the small transactions, a series of small transactions that precede a large transaction. So that flags the software as well.
Yeah, somebody told me that they had an unusual amount on their credit card. It was just 99 cents. So that may have been them testing.
Yes. That's absolutely probable. That is a definite possibility.
So tell me about the website again. You can get some information on
MilfordNational.com. If you just click on there's a notice about the Home Depot breach. Just click on that. That can bring you right into the whole, how do you prevent it in the first place? What do you do if you think it's a problem? What actions do you take? There's a whole series of things with a connection to the FTC, one of the federal groups that helps with identity fraud.
Guys, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you for putting this all together for me today, Ernie. Didn't have to do any work at all. Sounds like I did.
Well, I wanted you to have more time on the Home Shopping Network.
Yes. I'm afraid I admitted that. Thank you very much. Our guests this morning from the Milford National Bank, CEO and President Kristin Carvalho, and from Mendon, Public Safety Director Ernie Horn.